Hello again. This is English 4, Unit 7 to 9, Midterm Exam Review by teacher wvinueza. In this video, I'm going to explain how it's going to be the midterm exam, and we also will do a summary of all the content we reviewed during this first term. Objectives. First, review the topics for the midterm exam. Second, practice using similar exam questions. And 3, check the structure of the exam and the way you are going to be evaluated. So let's start. In the first 3 units, we talk about Unit 7, 8, and Unit 9. Unit number 7, going away. Unit number 8, at home. And Unit number 9, things happen. Now we're going to check every unit, the content, and I will repeat some explanations that I consider that are important for the exam. Unit 7, going away. Use of its plus adjective plus to describe a verb, and also infinitives to give reasons and advice and suggestions. In vocabulary, things to carry in a trip. So here we are going to focus in grammar. Examples. I'm studying English to pass an exam. He's traveling to Japan to visit his grandmother. So in these two examples, we are using the infinitive. Remember, infinitive is to plus the verb to give a reason. So he's studying, but what is the reason? To pass an exam. He's traveling to Japan, but what is the reason? To visit his grandmother. So in these two examples, we are using the infinitive to give a reason. In the second example, we are using it plus adjective plus to and the verb to describe something. It's easy to study English. So it's easy, we use it to describe the verb study. It's easy to study English. It's hard to work on weekends. Now talking about advice or suggestion. We can have two options here. The first one is using should. You should take a hat. And the other one is using phrases like this. Why don't you take a hat? It's a good idea to take a hat, and don't forget to take a hat. So anytime you need to provide advice or suggestion, you can use should or any of these phrases. Unit number 8, at home. Here we talk about the possessive pronouns, whose, and the order of adjectives. In vocabulary, you have to memorize the words about rooms in a house and the items you keep in each one. Possessive pronouns and whose. Remember that every time we talk about a pronoun, we're talking about a person. And whose means de quién. So in this question, whose car is it? The answer says it is mine. So usually the answer for whose is a possessive pronoun. It is mine. No, it is mine. Yours is over there. You are right. They look the same. So notice here that when we work with a possessive pronoun, it can have two positions in the sentence. The first position is at the end of the sentence, like this. It is mine, or it is mine in the answer, or at the beginning of the sentence as the subject. Yours is over there. So that will help you to identify in sentences if you have to use the possessive pronoun before or after the verb. Now, unit number 9, things happen. Here we learn about the past continuous versus simple past. We learn how to form the past continuous, how to form the simple past, and how to differentiate one from the other. And we also talk about the reflexive pronouns. In vocabulary, you have to memorize the words about body parts, accidents, and injuries. So talking about the grammar, past continuous. Remember that past continuous refers to an action that was in progress in the past. The structure is the verb to be in past, was for singular, were for plural, plus the verb ending in ing. She was reading a book last night at 7. This is an affirmative sentence. She wasn't reading a book last night at 7, the negative sentence. Was she reading a book last night at 7? Interrogative sentence. And finally, the short answers. Yes, she was, or no, she wasn't. This is past continuous, and remember it also has another name, past progressive. It is the same tense. Now, the simple past. When we talk about simple past, we must think in an action that is over. In affirmative sentences, we need to use the regular or irregular verb, but in past. So, she went to school is an affirmative sentence that uses an irregular verb. Went is the past tense of go. And she studied for an exam. This is a sentence in past using a regular verb. Remember that a regular verb ends in ed. Negative and interrogative sentences use the auxiliary did plus verb in infinitive. So check here. She didn't go to school. So anytime we use the auxiliary, the verb goes again to the infinitive without the preposition to. She didn't go to school. She didn't study for an exam. When we have a regular verb, it's easier because we just have to delete the ed ending and then we get the verb in infinitive. Interrogative sentence. Did she go to school? Did she study for an exam? And short answers, yes, she did, and no, she didn't. Now, the easiest way to identify in a sentence if we have to use simple past or past continuous is memorizing these four cases. Case number 1 talks about an interrupted action. So, when we have this case, you can have either at the beginning of the sentence or the end of the sentence simple past or past continuous, or the opposite, past continuous and simple past. In this example, I was reading a book when the phone rang. Here we have first the past continuous and then the simple past. So this was the action that was in progress. I was reading a book, and what was the interruption? The phone rang. In this case, these two sentences are connected by when, but you can also use while. If you want to use while, it will be like that. The phone rang while I was reading a book. The second case, we call it parallel actions. In this case, in both parts of the sentence, we are going to have past continuous. I was reading a book while she was studying. So I was reading the first part, she was studying in the second part. Both parts of the sentence use past continuous. Number 3, a specific time as an interruption. In this case, we need to refer not only to the time in past, but also be precise, be specific. So she was reading a book yesterday, by what time? At 7. She was reading a book yesterday at 7. So notice here we have yesterday and the time. And the last case, it's called repeated action irritating the speaker. She was always reading late at night. So here you're going to find words like always that shows the action was repeated in past many times, and this behavior caused someone to be irritated. Okay? So this is a short summary about Unit 7, 8, and 9. Now we're going to practice with similar questions, similar exam questions. Order the following sentences. Okay? So here you have 3 sentences that don't have the words in order. So you have to first identify what type of sentence you have. For example, in the first sentence, if you see not, you're talking about a negative sentence. In the second sentence, if you see a question mark, you're talking about an interrogative sentence. And third, if you don't have not or question mark, it means it is an affirmative sentence. So that's the first step you have to do. Identify what type of sentence you have. And then order the sentences. Okay? Look for the verb. The second thing you have to do is look for the verb. Okay? In this case, we have go and we have did. So These tell us that we are talking about a sentence in simple past. In the second sentence, we have was and reading. So here we have past continuous. And in the third sentence, we have should. In this sentence, we're talking about advice. Now you can stop the video and solve the exercise before you continue. And this is the solution. Order the following sentences. She did not go to school last night. It's number one. Number two, was Peter reading a book yesterday at 8? Because it's a question. And number three, you should take an umbrella. Is suggestion. Another question. Associate each sentence with the past continuous case. While I was working, my wife was cooking. I broke my hand while I was skating. I was sleeping at home last night at 11, and she was always complaining. Sentence number 4. Okay, again, stop the video and try to associate each sentence with the past continuous cases we reviewed a few minutes ago. Now the solution. Okay, first sentence. While I was working, my wife was cooking. So here what we have to do is to identify the two sentences. The first sentence is I was working, and the other one, my wife was cooking. So in this case, we have past continuous and past continuous, so we're talking about parallel actions. Sentence number 2, I broke my hand while I was skating. So in the first part of the sentence, we have simple past. In the second one, we have past continuous, so we're talking about an interrupted action in the past. The third sentence, I was sleeping at home last night at 11. So this is the key. We have last night and then the time. So we're talking about a specific time as an interruption. And number 4, she was always complaining. Okay, so as we have the word always, we know that we are talking about a repeated action irritating the speaker. Next question. Order the following adjectives. Okay, so now you have to identify the adjectives and the noun. So in sentence number 1, the noun is chaired. In sentence number 2, the noun is vast. And in sentence number 3, the noun is stable. So you have to order the adjectives before the noun. Here you can stop the video, check your notes about what is the appropriate order for adjectives, do the exercise, and then check the solution. Okay, the solution. Okay, this is the royal order of adjectives. Remember, we can have the determiner and observation. In this case, it can be what's your opinion about the noun. Then we have physical description, size, shape, age, color, origin, material, qualifier, and at the end, the noun. So, in the first one, beautiful English plastic chair. So, beautiful is observation or my opinion. Then we have origin, English, material, plastic, and then chair. The second example, all Spain tourist bus. All is the age, Spain, origin, and tourist is the qualifier or the use of this object, and then the noun bus. And the last one, new round blue table. New is the age, round is the shape, so this one should go first. Round, new, then we have color, blue, table. Round, new, blue, table. Next question. Mark with an X the column they belong to. So here you have a list of pronouns and adjectives, and you have to identify which column they belong to. For example, yourself is a reflexive pronoun. Remember, the reflexive pronoun ends in self or selves when it's plural. They, it is a subject pronoun. It's a subject of the verb of the sentence. Theirs, possessive pronoun, mine, possessive pronoun, and hers, possessive pronoun. So the difference between a possessive pronoun and possessive adjective is the s at the end. So there is possessive adjective and theirs is a possessive pronoun. Her, possessive adjective, and my, possessive adjective. Content of the exam. The exam will have the following questions. One question about reading for 3 points, one question about listening for 3 points, and 7 questions of grammar and vocabulary for 9 points. Total 15 points. The exam is prepared for 30 minutes, but you will have 1 hour to solve it. The exam must be taken the day and time for the virtual tutoring, so you have to take the exam the day that you have your class. And please, don't forget about your exam, because belated exams will be penalized with 20% less of the grade, and you will have to buy derecho de examen atrasado. And also, the exam will be in Moodle platform. Okay, it won't be in Cambridge platform, it will be in Moodle platform. Advice. My advice for you is review the tutorial videos uploaded in every week, because they have special topics that you need to consider for the exam. Memorize the vocabulary and practice listening and reading using Cambridge platform. My last advice for you is please keep calm, don't stress yourself, and good luck in all your exams. And see you next week in the next video. Bye bye.